Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Samantha Izundu if you haven't been here before, and if you have, welcome back. Today we're doing a bit of a tutorial. I have the inspiration is my beautiful Natasha Denona retro palette, and I'm wanting to do very simple winged liner look with some deep burgundy mauvey tones. So that's my plan. I don't know exactly what it's going to turn out like, but that's what I was thinking late at night last night when I couldn't sleep. And then I thought I would incorporate that with my one of my favorite makeup looks, which is just flawless classic red lip look with wing liner. And when I say flawless, it's going to be more that full coverage powdered look rather than I very often do a light coverage dewy, but we're going the opposite route. This is going out, going to a wedding, going out for dinner. This is your nice, elegant, classy, flawless. Oh, it gets me my most compliments basically. So let's get into it. I've gone for the slick look because I'm pretending like I'm going to a fancy restaurant, and let's get into it, shall we? So I'm going to do a full face because I want to really show you exactly what it is that I do. So this is probably going to be a very long tutorial, but I want this to be not just me putting makeup on and talking, but actually telling you how I do my makeup, because everyone has their own techniques, and this is what I do to have that very flawless look. So basically when I go out, what do I do? I've already put some primer on. I just used the Becca First Light, just like a hydrating primer, because I wanted that to sink in, because I'm going to go in with a blur stick from Mecca Max. But if you have a blurring, like the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer would be perfect. This is an Australian product, but I love it. And I'm just going to do that. I don't have huge pores, but it's really smoothing. So it's going to give me that flawless look that I'm looking for. And I just blend that in with my fingers. So my foundation that I'm using today, but basically use your favorite full coverage foundation. That's all I can say. Favorite full to medium coverage. Medium to full, I should say, depending on your preference. Not everyone likes full coverage. This one is like a medium to full. And this one is also Mecca Max, so I'm starting Australian strong. This is the Selfie Skin 2-in-1 foundation and concealer, but basically it's just like a full coverage. And I'm in the shade LC3 Cream, and I like the application of a sponge with full coverage. I feel like sometimes, I don't know, everything depends on the foundation, but I like this, how this one applies with a sponge. I just think because I have dry skin, where I wear a full coverage or a more matte concealer foundation, I feel like a sponge just kind of evens out that intensity whilst giving you good coverage. So this is a natural finish. It's not matte, but when you're a bit drier, it can turn a little bit matte through the day as our skin soaks up the moisture. And I'll have everything linked down below for you as well if there's anything you're interested in that I'm trying. But here the focus is the technique rather than the product. So my advice is use what you have. I might even give you suggestions of alternatives as I go along, especially if they're Australian products and you're not from Australia. I like to give alternatives because you wouldn't be able to access. I need to zoom up. Too far away, guys. I miss you. There we go. Close personal, just the way I like it. Okay. So I have a little bit of gradual tan on, so you can see I'm just slightly darker, but I don't think it's enough to be an issue. I'll definitely drag some bronzer down my neck. And now we're gonna go with my favorite concealer when I wanna look flawless. It's the Hourglass Vanish concealer, and I'm using the shade Cream, which is the same shade name as the foundation, coincidentally. And I love this one because it's pink, it's got a pinkiness to it, so it is brightening. And when we're looking at classic makeup, we want brightening, especially if you are over 30, 35, 40. Basically, you don't have that 20-year-old skin. Pink under eye concealer is really nice touch for that brightening. And I don't mean it being too light, because you still want it to be a good tone for you. But having that little bit of touch of pink in there is going to brighten up the face and in turn make you look just that little bit younger. Okay. I've just turned the exposure down a bit because I thought it was a little bit too light. I don't like it when it's too bright because then you can't see the true color of what I'm doing. Do you ever find that with some videos you watch, especially with eyeshadow palettes, they're not the true color because the lights are too light, which looks good on their face, but you can't see the products in their true color. Like I have a palette at home and I know that that's not what it looks like on camera. I really like to have my videos and me looking true. That's why I use natural light. I mean, if I had a whole filming room, I might use artificial light, but I just use my dining room because I have beautiful light coming through and it's free. Okay, so as you can see, I've just done a little bit here and a little bit here. That's just gonna really open up the eyes. And I do love a sponge under the eyes, especially because it adds just that tiny bit of hydration. This is a Morphe sponge and it's one of my favorite sponges because it's got that beautiful tip. And then if you do baking, I know it's for baking, I don't use it. But I just find it's a really good sponge, and they go for $11 at Mecca. If you really want this blurring stick, I think Mecca, if you email them, they will do international orders. And I think it was about 18 Australian dollars. It's quite affordable. Yeah, so I don't think they ship overseas if you like add to bag, but if you email them, I think they do at your request, if you're really interested in trying Mecca Max, because it's a wonderful in-house brand for Mecca. I actually want to put a little bit of my eye primer on. I'm just going to quickly do that off camera. This is the Kaleidos Tone Activator Prime eye primer, and I'll show you how much I use. It's tiny. It gets a little bit gunky on the lid, so I just take whatever's on the lid. I don't even push any out, and I just use the tiniest bit for both eyes because I don't actually want it to be thick. I want it to be really thin. Okay, now I'm going to set under my eyes, I think, before we continue with anything else. I love the Sephora Smoothing and Brightening Powder. It's, I think, $22 from Sephora, and it is really nice and brightening under the eye and really finely milled. So this is a favorite for me, and it's nice and affordable, and you can see that it's a favorite because I've hit pan. And it's just really nice under the eyes. Make sure you're not using too much powder. And we want our under eyes to look flawless because we're not going to be putting any eyeshadow underneath. And I'll tell you why later when I do my eyes. But we just want the under eye to be bright and very seamless. Now you use as much powder as you would when you go out. Me, because I am a drier skin type, I just kind of do my T-zone. I don't really do anywhere else because I don't really need it, because I'm going to go in with bronzer and blush, and that's powder as well. I don't want to do too much powder. When I do a really classic look, I don't actually like my brows to be too dark, so I'm going to go in with my favorite brow product, the Benefit Precisely My Brow, and I've tried a lot and this is still my favorite, and I'm going to use the shade 2. I have also shade 3, but I like a lighter brow with my classic look. Just a personal preference. Like I said, do what you want to do, but if you want to see my technique, I love to do a micro brow and then set it with a clear gel. So I will show you what I do. I'm not going to go into too much depth because they are just eyebrows and every eyebrow is so different. But basically, we want a nice tip at the end. See how that's just really dragged it out? And you don't want it too far from this angle. If it's too far out, you can really notice it. And then I go underneath. I kind of shape the brow and then I fill it in after. Because with a classic look, I mean, you could go for a fluffy brow if that's what you like, but when I do a classic look, I like a really clean eyebrow. And then I'm filling it in now. And then I do this part at the end because I want the least amount of product at the front here, so it looks like a natural gradient. See, I'm not really doing much. I'm very light-handed here. And I'm just stroking up. I'm not pressing hard up here because I don't really want any pigment at the top here. I want that to look quite natural. Okay, I'll do the other brow now. And then I'm just going to use my Kosas Airbrow in clear, and there's not a lot of technique, just brush it in the direction that you want it to set. And I like this brow gel because not too much product comes out. When there's too much product coming out, it ruins your makeup because it hits your skin. Well, for me it does. And that's why I like this one, because it just brushes the hairs. All right, let's go on to eyes before we do the rest of the face. And I want to... The reason why I really wanted to use this palette is because they've got a cream to powder formula, which will be perfect for nice blown out wing, which is what my intentions are. So I want to start with the shade Mod. And this is probably my favorite shade in the whole palette. It looks like white in the pan, but it is the softest pink you've ever seen in your life. Ooh, bit of creasing. And I want that just on the lid. There's a lot of kickback with this though. Kick up, kick back, what do you call it? Kick up. I don't know if you're gonna be able to tell, but it's honestly like the slightest amount of pink. Oh my God, I freaking love it. And then I want to take, I think I want to take this nude mauve. I have this Morphe M506, just a really nice small brush because I have hooded eyes. I really want a small brush because I'm not going for a big eye look, and I just want that in the crease. See, that's already too much. Let me go on this side and then I'll see if I can blend it out. And I'm just trying to make a nice bit of a shadow effect, and that's kind of it. Because then the whole focus is going to be the wing. And obviously I'm going for more of a cool tone look because my red lip is cool tone. So I would also recommend you match, if you're doing a warm red, I would use more warm tone neutrals. But if you're doing a blue red, and if you don't know, put it next to another red lipstick that you own and you'll be able to tell the difference. One looks, you can actually see a lot more cooler toned than one that looks more reddy, orangey or browny. That's the best way to be able to tell. Or also, if you get your red color, put a little bit on your hand and smudge it. What that does is blend the pigment out, and you can see if it goes a little bit pinky, like it's hard to tell, but if it looks more on the blue side or more on the orange side, then you can kind of tell if it's a cool tone or a warm tone, and then you can match your eyeshadow to that. So I wouldn't want to do this really cool tone look with an orange based red. It wouldn't match. So matching that lip to that eye is also quite important. Also, I get asked a lot at work. So you could always ask someone at your Sephora if you're buying a lipstick that you say you want a cool toned red or you want a warm toned red, and or you can ask to be shown the difference and they can explain it to you, because that's their job, that they should know that. I'm just building it up the tiniest bit, but essentially very light. And because I'm fair, I don't actually want too much pigment because that really shows up on my eyes. So I think I'm just gonna leave that there. We're going to start with the lighter shade and then build up. So I'm going to start with this Morphe 508, and you can see it's got like a smudge, it's like a smudge brush, but it's very small, and I'm going to start with that. And I'm going to take the shade Andy. I haven't used Andy. And what I'm going to do is just have that on the edge of my lash line. And this is going to give a nice blend to when I go in with a deeper shade. It's going to give it more of a smoked out look than a sharp line. Now, if you don't have the time, just get out your liquid liner and do a black liquid line. Not a problem, but if you want something a little bit different and want to use your Natasha Denona palette a little bit different, this is something that you could do basically, because in my eyes, it's fun to play with makeup. So you can barely see that, but I'm going to do layers. So here we have one side and the other side. This has nothing left on it and the brand doesn't exist anymore, but like one of these angled eyebrow cat eye brushes. And I think I'm gonna go in with Groove here. And I'm going to do that right on the lash line. So it might sound excessive to you, but we're going to be using 3 shades in total. Just so we can build that intensity while still having that soft blown out effect. See how it still looks really soft? Because we haven't finished, guys. Now I do very small wings because I have hooded eyes. But if you don't have hooded eyes, you could definitely go bigger. And it'll look different on me. That's why I do small, because so that I can actually see it. Otherwise my eyes make it disappear and it looks weird. So that's why I'm trying really hard to have that not happen. And then I'm gonna get that smudge brush that I had originally. Very lightly. I'm very lightly touching this because I don't want it to disappear. Okay, and then we're gonna go in with my second favorite shade, Rebellion. And this is cream to powder, so it will have good staying power. Very tight on the lash line. And I wanna bring this shade all the way from the inside because I want the inside to be really thin. So I didn't wanna do too many shades on the inner part because then it's going to get lost in my eyelid. And then with the wing, I tend to go from here down. That's just what I find easiest, especially with my eye shape. You see how we built up that intensity with it still looking really soft. Okay, so before I was saying we're not gonna have anything underneath because when you put eyeshadow underneath, it makes your eyes smaller and darker, which has its moments. But for us, in this classic moment, we want to open up the eye and brighten the eye. So once I put like my mascara and everything on and my face is finished, you'll see how under in this area it's really bright and it almost pulls the face up. And that's why I love doing a classic look when I go out, because it just makes everything look kind of pulled back and chic and magnifique. So I think I'm going to use a little bit more of that shade I originally did in my crease with that brush. Now that I've got the wing on, I think I can afford to go with a little bit more just to give a bit of definition here. And you can leave it here and keep it matte, or you could always put a little bit of shimmer on. And then I'm taking a little bit of that first shade Mod, the white, and just keeping this really bright, because we want this eye to be bright and open and beautiful. And now I'm going to tight line my eye, just tight line. Oh, wrong end, with the Victoria Beckham. I'm using the shade Ash. So we're not only going to have this in up here. Probably not a good idea to totally stab my eye, but, and that is just going to define the lash line, that's it. We're not supposed to be seeing this. And if you don't know, tight lining is like you've got your waterline, it's your top waterline. Mascara I'm going to put on is the Benefit Bad Girl Bang. I think it's a good one. Should I do lashes today? Maybe I'll go get lashes. I haven't done lashes in so long, but I do wear fake lashes when I go out to events. And this is what we're doing right now. So let me get lashes. I don't do super dramatic lashes, but I will show you how to put them on. Someone did request that. So I'm going to show you quickly how to put them on. I just have a couple of tips. And this is Model Rock Wispies. And they're an Australian brand. So I would just recommend using like your favorites, like Kiss, Ardell are really good. But this is just what I have. So you always want to see how it's shorter here and longer here. Take a little bit off the ends, but fit it to your eye shape. You might not need to take anything off if you've got beautiful big eyes. And then this is my hot trick. So I get my lash, Right, get my duo lash I'm using, and then depending if you've got, and then I just put it on just lightly on the lash line, and then you're gonna let it sit for a minute. That's your biggest key because it needs to get tacky. If it's not tacky, it's just gonna slide all over your eyeballs, or your eyelid I should say, and it's not gonna stick, and you're gonna get really annoyed and wonder why it's not working for you, because the glue needs to get tacky, and that's what's going to make it stay in place but still give you enough time to move it around and in place. So this is the time where you put your mascara on and let that sit for 30 seconds to a minute, and you can use a tool like this. Specifically for lashes, you can use tweezers, you can use your fingers. I tend to use these or fingers. I'm just blowing on it because I don't have the patience. And then you're going to place them in at the edges, and we're going to go in. So I place them on the middle of my eye first. Just tap it on the middle ever so lightly. Then we do the outer corner, and then we're going to do the inner corner. Yeah, it's not tacky enough yet, so it's just flung off, but that's okay. When it's tacky enough, it'll start to stick. There we go. There we go. We're starting to stick now. And just being gentle, because that's going to make it easy to move around as well. I'm having a bit of a hard time. My filming just cut out because my memory card was full and it doesn't warn me. So I don't know where that got to. I may have missed the whole eyelash application. Fortunately, I haven't started with my face. I have my Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit, and I've just got that contour shade, the really nice cool toned one. And I'm just gonna do that where the dip is. See how you've got a natural shadow there? You'll be able to see it on your own face. Some have it deeper than others, and I'm doing it just in there. I don't want to go below, just in that line there. And that is going to give you contour, because I'm just emphasizing that dip. Because we're going more classic, that contour is a really nice aspect in my opinion. Now, some people don't like contouring, and you can skip this step if you would like to, but I love that chiseled. It's going to help with that snatched, I hate that word, pulled back look that we're looking for in that, you know, when those classic women, they just look, you know what I mean? The word for this, just lifted. That's the word, lifted. Graciously lifted. And see how that's just kind of shaped my face. Now I'm going to also go in with a little bit up here. I'm going to use the mirror because I need the monitor because I need two hands so I don't mess up my hair. I like to do a little bit here. I don't have a big forehead, so I just like to give it a little bit of shape. I've got a weird hairline which I'm totally okay with, but it is what it is. I've got a devil, what do you call it, devil horn. And then I like to just, I don't add any product, just the excess on each side of my nose. I don't like to do too much contouring on the nose because I do have a small nose. But basically you want to keep this light and just have a little shadow here. And I like to go under here, it gives that lifted effect under the nose too. And as you can see, I just used the excess product. I did not dip in any more because I also have very fair skin, so it really shows up. But that's all the contouring. And then for bronzer, I don't know which one to pick. I've got my new Nabla, and then I've got my good old, I think I'm gonna go my trusty because that's what I love and know, the Balm. This is Oliver, because it's got a little bit of a redder tone to it. And because we're doing much more cooler tones today, I think this would be suitable. And this is gonna go just a little bit higher than that contour. But we still want it just on that cheekbone. But we also don't want like a harsh line. That's why blending is very important. So the excess I do down here, not actually going in and then putting bronzer here, just the excess, because I want it to be nice and smooth. because I also don't like that harsh line. And then I'm going to put this up here. Now I don't have a big forehead, so I do like a smaller bronzer brush, but if you do have a larger forehead or a larger cheek region, you might want to use a bigger brush. I would just suit that to your face measurements. It just makes everything easier if you understand your face shape. So I have a very round face, but I also have, it's also kind of small in a way. So I don't have like large features. So I do prefer smaller brushes. And I always use finishing powder with a classic look like this because it gives that lovely radiant finish. And then I'm going to, because my face is a little bit lighter than my neck because I have that gradual tan, I'm just going to bring that down. A little bit on the chin, excess, not dipping in and then going directly in. I only dip in and go directly where I want pigment. And then I'll do a little bit of excess here, a little bit of excess here, just to give that pinch of color where the sun would hit. I'm really liking how the eyes turn out, and with the lashes it's kind of helped assisting with that beautiful soft look. I'm really into it. Yeah, not too much bronzer because this is a blush moment. So I'm gonna go with my good old trusty NARS palette that I've almost finished the bronzer. I would have used this bronzer, it's like my favorite, but obviously it's gone. This is the Orgasm blush from NARS, and I freaking love it because it's got that beautiful pinkiness that I so desire when I'm going for a classic look. So my bronzer brush was the Refa number 5, and then they're real hair, just FYI, but it gives that beautiful smooth look. And then for my cheeks I'm using Refa number 4, and it's a nice angled smaller brush, and I'm going to do that just up here. We're not going to go down here, we want it just here because we are what? Say it with me, lifting. We love a good fake lift, and it's just such a pretty color. And I'm not going to need any highlighter because I am going for a more matte look, but this blush already has shimmer in it, so it's going to give me that nice glow without putting on a whole highlighter. If you don't have this blush, I would definitely recommend a pink blush, something with nice pinky tones in it, because that's going to give us our classic English rose look. A little bit on the nose, chin, excess, and that is it. So everything with this look is soft and buildable. We don't want anything too heavy and pigmented. We just want lots of light layers. And then all we have left is the beautiful, no, that's a lie. We've got finishing powder, Hourglass finishing powder in Mood Light. Cannot recommend this enough. This one is broken, but it's pink toned. So what is it? Brightening, lightening, and youthful. I feel like we've got some slogans for today. So I'm going to take a big, beautiful, fluffy brush. Whatever you have is a big face powder brush. Get it in there, tap it off, and I'm just very lightly, do this before lips, going on with that, and that's going to give us that nice all over glow without looking like a disco ball. It's one of those things that you don't necessarily need in your routine, but it's like a really nice addition. And then our lips, we're gonna go with my absolute favorite red lip combo, both lime crime. So the lip liner is in the shade Poison, and this is my favorite lip ever. It's my go-to red lip in terms of quality and shade. So this is the lime crime in Red Velvet. So we're going to line our lips. I learned a technique the other day, and I did have lip balm on, but that foundation really got into my lips, didn't it? So if you want your lips to look thinner here, a lot of people don't want that, but you might want, not thinner, but like more of a straight line here. You go down. If you want it to look more plump, you go up. This. So that makes it more rounded, and then if you go down, it makes it more straight. That's a new technique I just learned, and I love it. Can you see on the wand how it looks like it's got a little bit of blue undertone, blue purple? That's how you can tell it's cool toned. And also, cool toned red lips make your teeth look whiter. Ta-da! Isn't that the most beautiful lip? It dries down, transfer proof, lasts all day. I love it. So let's zoom out. That is the look, guys. What do you think? I'm really happy with how it turned out, actually. This is one of my favorite looks. See how we're looking very awake and bright? It's all those little tips and tricks are gonna help you look lifted. If you like this video, I really appreciate you giving it a thumbs up and helping me get out into the YouTube community, because that algorithm is a B asterisk to asterisk asterisk. Subscribe if you're new here, share with your friends, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!